Hello and welcome to the second video in my Lua Deobfuscation series. Today we're going to be talking about Rerubi because it is the foundation of obfuscators like Ironbrew and Moonsec. So, what is Rerubi? Rerubi is a legacy Lua 5.1 bytecode interpreter written in Lua. It is created by Rerubi and based off Lua VM by DS84182. Well, what does it do? Rerubi reads real Lua 5.1 bytecode, deserializes it, and executes it. When I say real, I just mean puck real bytecode, so normal Lua vanilla bytecode. It acts just like a Lua virtual machine. It's essentially what it is. So the code structure of Rerubi. There are four main functions: get meaning and chunk decode, and wrap and loop, which I'm grouping these together because chunk decode is a proto inside of get meaning and loop is a proto inside of wrap. I'm going to change the names a little bit. I'll refer to get meaning as get meaning, chunk decode as deserialize, wrap as wrap, and loop as VM loop. So chunk decode, I'm going to call deserialize, and loop, I'm going to call VM loop. So get meaning. What does it do? This is the higher level function that has deserialize inside of it. We take in bytecode as a string, and then we use helper functions like gbits8, gfloat, gstring to read the bytecode. Because what bytecode is the Lua compiler will output a list of numbers and strings that represent your program. So bytecode is literally just a list of numbers and strings in a certain order. Then we call deserialize to convert the encoded protos to objects. So we're going to talk about that when we actually get to the deserialize function a little bit more, what that actually means. So there are just two steps, mainly in the get meaning function. We read the header. When we talked about metadata in the last video, it contains things like the Lua version that you're on and the size of certain numbers. It is not relevant at all in the case of obfuscators, so we're not going to talk about it too much. And then we deserialize the main proto. So what does deserialization actually mean? Well, we talked about how bytecode is just a list of numbers and strings. Well, that means that the protos have to become numbers and strings too. So the compiler will convert your proto, it'll convert your function to a proto, and then that proto into a list of numbers and strings. So the deserialize function will turn those numbers and strings back into an object. So we read the proto information like name, number of values, number of arguments, if it's var, etc., which again is not important because 99% of these things aren't in Ironbrew or Moonsec. They don't matter at all to obfuscators, so they're omitted. Then we convert encoded instructions into objects because, again, the same thing. We have to turn the instruction into something like a number. We turn the instruction into a number, the compiler does that, and then Rerubi has to turn it back into an object. And then we read the constants and the child protos. So that's it for the overview of Rerubi. We're going to talk about it a lot more in detail in the next video where we actually go to Rerubi's source code and explore how it works a little bit. Thank you for watching.